In the year 1914, a young Englishman has been on a boat for 67 days, traveling to a remote island in the South Atlantic where he'll work as a weather observer for a year. On the last day of the trip, while having a smoke by the railing, the captain asks him what he's running away from, because that's the first thing they asked him when he decided to go to sea. But the Englishman doesn't reply. They make it to the island, and the whole crew helps the Englishman take his things to the cabin he'll be staying at. He notices there are no birds around, and the captain points out there is no weather official welcoming them either. They enter the cabin, which looks as if it's been abandoned a long time ago, and that makes the captain think it's not safe. He doesn't think the Englishman should stay, but the man refuses. He is staying. Even if it isn't part of his job, the captain helps the Englishman investigate the area. On their way to a lighthouse they've seen from afar, they find a fountain, and on it, a message written on the rocks: "Gruner owns this fountain." The captain sends his crew back to the boat and continues with the Englishman alone. A moment later, they make it to the lighthouse, which is rudimentarily fortified. When nobody answers their knocking and calls, they break in by forcing the door open and go upstairs, where they find an old man sleeping. This is Gruner, who whispers something about going back to the water before getting off the bed. When the captain asks him about the previous weather observer, Alder Vigeland, who he should be taking back with him, Gruner says he died of typhus, that one day he just left and he never saw him again. Finding Gruner unhelpful, the two men leave. The Englishman still insists on staying. Before departing, the captain offers him a gun, but the Englishman refuses. After their goodbyes, he begins tidying the cabin and setting up his instruments. In a desk drawer, he finds a journal belonging to his predecessor. The early entries are ordinary notes about island wildlife, along with a photograph of a woman in a wedding dress labeled Mrs. Vigeland, love, love, love. But the writing soon grows strange, sketches of monstrous sea creatures and a chilling remark. The next day, while taking readings on the beach, the Englishman finds circles of stones filled with shells, their perfect symmetry too deliberate to be natural. That night, while dining in his cabin, he hears growls and scratching outside. As he approaches the door, a monstrous claw pushes beneath it, matching the drawings in the journal. More creatures crawl over the house. He flees to the basement, barricades the door, and stabs one creature through a crack in the floor. He spends the night hiding there. Come morning, he finds blood on the floorboards and strange footprints in the sand. He rushes to the lighthouse, but this time Gruner refuses him entry, dousing him with water from a window and warning he should have stayed on the boat. That night, the Englishman prepares for attack, boarding up the windows, encircling the cabin with wood and books soaked in lamp oil, and loading a rifle. The creatures arrive, swarming the cabin. He shoots some, but they are too many, so he ignites the barricade, driving them off but setting his own house ablaze. Forced to flee, he hides among the rocks in the rain. By morning, the cabin lies in ruins. Later, while stalking Gruner at the fountain, he nearly shoots him, but a female creature wearing a sweater ambushes him. Before he can act, Gruner intervenes. By threatening the creature, the Englishman forces Gruner to disarm. Gruner grudgingly agrees to let him stay at the lighthouse, especially after hearing what supplies the newcomer has. Back at the lighthouse, they gather provisions. Friend tells Gruner he thinks the previous weatherman did not die of typhus, but was left alone in the house and taken by the creatures. He says that should count as a crime under Gruner's belt, but Gruner neither confirms nor denies it. He simply tells him they need to go, nighttime is approaching. Some days later, Friend wakes inside the lighthouse to find the creature licking his burned hand. Her saliva has healing properties. Gruner enters and tells him he has been sleeping for 2 days, and even wet his pants. They go upstairs, count bullets, and talk about the creature. Gruner explains he cannot truly talk to her, only order her. She is like a dog that will always return to her master, no matter how cruel. Friend, however, is amazed. He watches her while talking about the theory of isolated sea creatures that evolved in their own way to survive. Gruner interrupts, taking him to the balcony to explain that the creatures hate light, artificial or natural. Friend asks why Gruner did not leave with the boat that came 4 days ago. Gruner replies that if civilization is so nice, why did Friend leave it? He prefers it here, where he is master of his own destiny. Friend replies that he will signal the first boat that passes. Gruner laughs at the idea. They are not on a commercial route. The lighthouse was only built to divert funds. Days pass as Friend tries to restart his life. He puts up a hammock, finds an old diving suit, marks the days on the wall, and gets used to interacting with the creature, even naming her Anaris. When night falls, Gruner lights torches and the lighthouse lamp, telling Friend to arm himself. He explains the attack strategy: only shoot when they are close, and killing a couple is enough, because the others will eat the fallen. When the monsters finally come, Gruner attacks them quickly. But fear overtakes Friend, and he steps back inside, passing out. The next morning, Gruner angrily tells him he will not accept dead weight in the lighthouse. He sends him to fetch water, and when Friend returns, he finds Gruner sleeping with the creature. That night, Gruner gives Friend one last chance. But when the monsters arrive, it is Gruner who steps inside, locking Friend outside to defend himself. The next morning, he opens the door to find Friend covered in blood, but alive and victorious. From then on, they settle into routine. Friend handles menial tasks during the day, and at night, they defend themselves. Friend remembers why he came to the island, to find peace and nothingness, but instead, he has found hell. 2 weeks pass without attacks. Friend searches for wood and collects whale bones for carving. He cannot understand how Gruner can both attack these creatures and sleep with one of them. Yet, he too befriends the creature. One night, distracted by a chess game, they forget to light the torches. The creatures nearly overpower them, and though they survive, Gruner's leg is wounded. Anaris heals him with her saliva. But their ammunition is dwindling, and hope begins to fade. On the beach, Friend finds a necklace, then sees a ship. He runs for a flare gun, but Gruner tackles him, refusing to let him signal. Gruner says he already has what he wants and needs no one else. Anaris intervenes, growling at Gruner, forcing him to back away. Later, Friend discovers a hidden boat with Anaris, but Gruner dismisses it. Escape would mean death at sea. Friend suggests salvaging dynamite from a sunken ship using the old diving suit. At first, Gruner refuses, but later throws the suit at him, clearly hoping the sea will kill him. Friend dives, finding the dynamite, but Gruner ignores his signal for help, nearly drowning him. Still, he survives, and together they bury the dynamite in lines around the lighthouse. Winter arrives. Weeks pass without attacks. Gruner, paranoid, forces Anaris to sing to lure the creatures. When they finally attack, wind accidentally blows out some of the lamps by the door. The creatures take the chance to enter the lighthouse and attack. While Friend makes his way upstairs, shooting them, Gruner tries to detonate the dynamite to no avail. So he has to defend himself the best he can until Friend gets there to reconnect the wires to the detonator. The lever is pulled and the farthest line of dynamite explodes, effectively destroying most of the creatures. Excited by this, Gruner pulls the lever again, ignoring Friend's warnings, and sets the closest line of dynamite off, knocking out both of them. In the morning, they go out to see the damage. Gruner is finishing off any creature that may be left alive, but Friend can't bring himself to do it when he discovers a bone necklace on one of the creatures, a sign of intelligence. Gruner throws the necklace into the water. That night, the creatures don't come, but the two men hear the sad sounds Anaris is making somewhere down on the beach. Gruner explains that's how he found her as a baby, crying while trapped in a net. He also says she always does the same thing. Cries a lot but ends up coming back anyway. Friend thinks she's mourning. The next day, while walking along the beach, Friend notices two child creatures on the sea. Trying to be friendly, he prepares something for them. A circle of stones on the sand and the bone boat he carved in the middle. He returns to the lighthouse then, where Gruner is reloading their rifles with fake bullets just so they can keep on inspiring fear. Friend ignores him and goes to the balcony, where he uses binoculars to check on his little bone boat. It's still there where he left it. The following morning, Friend finds that Gruner has drunk himself to sleep and a deck of cards has fallen to the floor. Inside the card box, he finds the same picture of the woman he had seen in his cabin, but here she isn't alone, her husband is with her. The words love, love, love are also on the back of this picture. Friend has a realization then. Gruner is a fake name and the previous weatherman hadn't died. Gruner is the previous weatherman, driven crazy by loss and isolation. Upset by this discovery, Friend decides to erase the day count he's been keeping on the wall. Later that day, while walking along the beach, Friend finds the circle of stones empty. The creatures took the little bone boat. When noticing the child monster in the distance, Friend leaves the torch he's carrying in the stone circle before backing away with his hands up, showing he means no harm. The young creature approaches him then, and soon after, many others also appear, including Anaris, who is looking much more confident. The kid is about to give the bone boat to Friend, but Gruner interrupts the sweet moment with a shot of his rifle. Friend tells him to back away because they were wrong. The creatures are actually friendly. Ignoring him, Gruner orders Anaris to go back to the house, but she doesn't obey. Gruner becomes very upset when he realizes Anaris won't return to him, and he runs back to the lighthouse, mumbling things like nobody leaves Gruner, Gruner leaves. Friend tries to befriend the creatures again, but the kid falls when a shot from Gruner at the lighthouse balcony hits him in the chest. All the creatures run back into the water, including Anaris, who only stays back one more second to share a look with Friend. Enraged, Friend returns to the lighthouse and attacks Gruner for what he's done, but Gruner gains the upper hand. When he's about to hit him with an axe, Friend uses his real name and tells him Alder Vigeland is not a murderer. Struck by these words, Gruner repeats love, love, love before opening the door and leaving the house, giving himself up to the creatures. Friend sees them attack him and closes the door, knowing by the noises he's lost Gruner and he's now alone. Time passes, and we see 3 officers inside the lighthouse trying to awaken Friend, who is sleeping on Gruner's old bed. They're here to replace Friend with the new weatherman, and they think Friend is Gruner, but Friend doesn't correct them. In fact, he tells them the weatherman died of typhus. The officer in charge scolds him for the state of the room and informs him that they are at war, while Friend goes out to the balcony where he sees a bunch of ships in the distance. The movie ends with Anaris running along the beach before jumping back into the water,